Hello my lovely, Sophia here, Psychic Tarot reader, personal mentor, and welcome back to my channel, Sophia Psychic Tarot. So today's video is our second success story on this channel. So take a seat with this one because it's going to blow your mind, okay? Grab your G&T, grab your wine, grab whatever, okay? Because this is amazing. So my client says, and I did personal mentor this client, okay? My dear Sophia, I cannot thank you enough for all your help in getting my SP back into my life. I am still pinching myself to check that I am not dreaming this and it really is real. She goes into other things, but she says further down, I would love you to share my story with your viewers on your channel to help them see that you really can have your SP back in your life and that the current circumstances really do not matter. This is my story that I want to tell. When I was in my early 20s, there was a guy at work that I really fancied. We started flirting outrageously with each other, and after a few weeks, he finally asked me out. He was so loving and attentive, the perfect gentleman, as my mother would say. She kept telling me that I had got a good one there. However, about 18 months into this dream relationship, I started to think that perhaps it really was too good to be so perfect. And so I started to have thoughts about him finding someone else. Well, within 4 months of me starting to think these kind of thoughts, he finished with me, telling me that he had met someone new and that she was the love of his life. I had changed jobs during our time of dating, and this new girl had recently started at his place of work. I was absolutely distraught and devastated. I begged him and begged him to stay, but off he went, trampling all over my heart as he left. Within 2 years, they were married and started a family. That was about 14 years ago. I dated a few guys afterwards before I eventually got married and had children too. My marriage was never a particularly happy marriage, and we separated about a year ago now. In early March 2020, I came across one of Sophia's tarot readings on YouTube and decided to get a channeled message from my first love and asked her to see if he still thought about me at all. When I got her reading back, I was upset to hear that although he thought about me, he was not unhappy where he was, and so he wouldn't be rushing in to sweep me off my feet. At first I cried, and then I got annoyed with myself for even thinking such a foolish thought that he could ever want me or be mine again. The next day in work, still feeling very sorry for myself, I suddenly heard Sophia's words in my head saying to listen to the reading at least more than once so that I heard the guidance from Spirit and not just what I wanted to hear. I must admit that when I got the reading, I just skimmed through it quickly because all I wanted to hear was whether he would come back into my arms or not. That evening, I replayed my video and it hit home when Sophia said that the reading was only for guidance and that I could change things. And then at the end, she said that if I wanted him back, I could, as I create my reality. I must admit I had only ever listened to one of Sophia's readings before I purchased mine, so I had no idea what she was really on about. I contacted Sophia again and asked what she meant about me having him back in my life when my reading said he was happy where he was. She told me to watch her Get Them Back playlist for more insight. I did with intrigue but couldn't fathom out quite how I could get him back. All I kept thinking was, how is this possible if he is happy elsewhere? I decided to get Sophia's help in early April with her personal mentoring. As I had such a block about this working, we started off small with him getting in contact with me first. This even seemed impossible as years had gone by. I had married since and moved away, so my surname and location were different. How could he possibly find me? Sophia told me that the how and the when was not my concern and to just focus on setting the intention that he contacted me and to repeat my affirmations every time I thought about him. No negative Nancy thoughts, only positive Pam. I had to start creating my new movie. After a week of repeating the main affirmations Sophia had given me about him contacting me, I had been out for a run and got home and checked my Facebook page before jumping in the shower. I could see there was a message, so I opened it thinking it was just my friend as I was waiting to hear from her about meeting up soon. But oh my God, it was him. After a week, no way. I literally had to sit down as I was shaking so much. It was just a simple message saying hi and asking how I'd been over the years. Shaking like a leaf, I replied that I had married and was now separated with 2 kids. He didn't reply back that evening, so I decided to check his Facebook page out. There were lots of photos of him, his wife and children, holiday photos, family meals, days out. I felt so sick and immediately went into a downward spiral. Who the beep was I kidding? All these silly affirmations and thinking I could change things, I went to sleep sobbing into my pillow. 2 days later, I still hadn't heard back from him and I felt worse than ever. So I contacted Sophia again to tell her he had messaged me, but I hadn't heard anything back from him and that there was no way this was going to work as he was indeed happily married. She told me again that my thoughts create and that this was my assumption that he was happily married. After all, he had reached out after all these years when I had indeed been intending that he contacted me. And that in his reality, he could stay happily married to his wife, but in my reality, he was my man and no one else's. She gave me an affirmation to send his wife into a new relationship, so she was happy too, as I could now not stop thinking about her again, even though I was trying not to, but seeing the photo of her after all these years had made it far worse. Sophia also reminded me that I was a creator and not a reactor, so to continue creating my new movie and stop reacting to the transition stage that I was experiencing. The next morning, I decided to get back really strict on my mental diet. Yes, he was my man and mine only. I didn't want anyone else, so I may as well give it everything I had. So for the next 2 to 3 weeks, I kept reaffirming that he contacted me, telling me how much he loved me, couldn't live without me, and wanted only me. I was his main priority and the most important person in his life. I also told myself that I hoped his wife found her better half because my SP was not it, and he was my perfect man, and for her to peacefully move on to a better relationship that suited her. I just constantly kept telling myself this over and over again throughout the day whenever he popped into my head. No negative thoughts, just positive ones of how I wanted him to be. I also listened to the affirmations video Sophia did for me once a day too, sometimes when I also got into bed. I stayed on my mental diet no matter what and did not entertain any negative thoughts or old stories about us, what had happened, or even that he hadn't replied back to my message that he'd sent me. Well, approximately 3 weeks after my first message and me constantly repeating my affirmations, I received another message from him, which was by now about the end of May. He apologised for not replying sooner and told me that it had taken him aback that I was not with someone and that I was available. He told me he couldn't stop thinking about me lately and that he wanted to see me. Shut the front door. This is what I had been repeating to myself for the past few weeks. Intrigued, I asked him how he found me. It was through an old work friend who I was still in touch with on Facebook. So the how and the when really did not matter. What happened next was what seemed impossible. We met up for coffee. He told me he loved me and had regretted leaving me. By mid-June, he told me he was going to leave his wife and that he wanted us to move in together. It is now the 18th of July 2020 and we have just collected the keys to our new house. Everything happened so fast, and I really did create my reality, and I'm living the life I want to be living and couldn't be happier. It took about 4 months to completely turn my life around. So please, viewers, don't give up no matter what. I so nearly did when I saw his Facebook page, but Sophia was my rock and helped me to get the love of my life back in my life. As for his wife, well, within 3 weeks of my SP telling her he was leaving, she had fallen in love with a guy she worked with. So she is now happy too. Thank you, Sophia, so much. So, my lovelies, to be honest, both me and this client were amazed at how quickly this worked, because he'd been married for years to this woman, and like she said, his Facebook page just showed how happy he was in his reality. Yes, he was. Okay, so the main thing to remember is that everybody goes at a different pace. So don't think, oh shit, I've been doing this for weeks or months and nothing's happening. Okay, it's all about how you affirm as well. If you're making it a chore, or you're just like doing it robotically, then you're not really doing it right. Okay, you're if I think about YouTube, or I think about money, or I think about my business, or if I was thinking about an SP, okay, then is when I would really go with my affirmations to stop any negative thoughts coming in. So you could, like she did, every time he popped into her head, when she really got strict on her mental diet, she was like, no, he's my man. He makes me a priority. I'm the person he loves the most. Tells me, he loves me. He can't live without me and wants only me. We're so happy together, blah, 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 blah. He contacts me. But, up your game. If you start to see, and you've been doing your affirmations and really naturally, not forcing it, because your affirmations are to replace any negative thoughts. So if you start to think about them and you're like, oh, they haven't texted me, they haven't rung me, and all this, that is negative. No, as soon as they pop into your head, you've got to go on your mental affirmations, okay? Your affirmations over and over and over and over. Okay, even if it's for 2 to 3 minutes, 5 minutes or whatever, okay, till you sort of, it's sunk in, and then go about your day doing something else, and the next minute they pop into your head, you think, oh great, okay, no, they make me their priority, blah 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 blah. Okay, but don't give up. Okay, it is, no matter what, it's only final when you say it's final, not anybody else or not them. When you say it's final, when you decide you want to give up, is when it's over. So you are the creator of your reality. So create, okay? Create. What is it you want? Do you just want to be living a life, or do you want to live the life you prefer to be living? Don't let the outside world dictate to you. When people come to me for tarot readings, they start off in their emails, no matter how many videos I've done and the Get Them Back playlist, saying, you create your reality. They come to me. Does he still love me? Does he see a future with me? Does she see a future with me? Does she want to be with me? So I do the reading, then I always say, it doesn't matter. This is their DVD. It doesn't matter if they were stood in front of you saying drop dead. I don't care if you fall off the face of the earth. It is about what you want, not what they want. You, okay? So you are the creator of your reality, so create. When what you focus on stays in your reality. Well, whether it is positive thoughts or negative thoughts. So stop focusing and reacting to things you do not want to see in your reality or happen. So you can go back to the Get Them Back playlist. You can have a personal reading. You can have personal mentoring. But my other success story, she didn't have personal mentoring. She just took on board what I'd said in her reading and listened to the Get Them Back playlist over and over, and also joined in the live discussions as well. Okay, so just as I say, live the life that you want to be living, not what you think you deserve to be living or what others think you should be living or whatever, okay? You are the only block that is stopping you from getting what you want in this lifetime. Nobody else and nothing else. It really is that simple. So please, my lovelies, start creating and not reacting. I'll leave this with you. Love and light.